Getting sticky in this bitch. Sticky situation. This combination.
Get it now. I'm so ATL. Get it now. I'm so ATL. Get it now. I'm so ATL.
There's people struggling to feed their families. There's people who don't know when their next meal is going to come from. There's people who have to pay their bills.
I'm just treating this tournament like that. If you defend something, that means you won something. If you did it, that means you can do it again.
Coco Gauff has made a move that's shaking up the sports world. Instead of following the typical path of athletes who trade their humble beginnings for lavish lifestyles, she's doing something unexpected and impactful. Gauff has officially purchased the public tennis facility in Delray Beach, Florida, where she first picked up a racket, felt the sting of the tennis ball, and dreamed of greatness. This isn't just a headline about a tennis star buying property. It's about Gauff returning to her roots and changing the narrative of what modern athletes are supposed to do. Unlike others who use their success to privatize spaces or create exclusive clubs, she's not buying the facility to rename it after herself or turn it into a high-end venue for the rich. Instead, she's preserving it as a place for everyone, a reminder of where she came from and a place where future generations can learn the sport without the barriers of exclusivity. This unexpected move is leaving people in the tennis world and beyond speechless, as it completely challenges the typical expectations we have for athletes once they reach the top. Coco Gauff has done something truly groundbreaking by purchasing the very tennis facility where her journey began, not to rename it or turn it into an exclusive club, but to transform it into Gauff Futures. This will be a multi-million-dollar youth tennis and education academy aimed at providing opportunities for kids who would otherwise never have access to the sport. It's hard to imagine the full scope of her journey from a young girl hitting on cracked public courts in Florida's brutal heat to now, where she's a Grand Slam champion and one of the highest-paid female athletes in the world. But despite her meteoric rise, Gauff hasn't forgotten where she came from. She's coming back for the kids who are still on the other side of the fence, those who dream of tennis but can't afford the entry fees, or have never even held a real racket. For these kids, there will be no barriers, no exclusive memberships, just an open door to opportunity. For Coco, true victory is not measured in titles or trophies, but in giving the next generation a chance. And that's just the beginning. In today's show, we'll dive into Gauff's favorite players to watch, including the one chaotic superstar she finds hilarious. We'll also explore her ambitious goals for the 2026 season that should have top players like Aryna Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek taking notice. And we've got the scoop on a major return that's rocking the tennis world. The tennis world is buzzing with excitement, nostalgia, and disbelief as Venus Williams makes her shocking return. Tennis fans are already predicting that her potential first-round matchup could be one of the most emotional in the sport's history. The 2026 season has officially kicked off with a bang, sending shockwaves from Perth to Melbourne to Delray Beach and back again. And speaking of Delray Beach, that's where we find the heart of this incredible story. To truly understand the significance of Coco Gauff's purchase of the tennis facility, you have to know where she started. Long before the New Balance sponsorships, the Mercedes-Benz commercials, or her reign as the highest-paid female athlete for 3 consecutive years, Gauff was just a kid grinding away at Pompey Park. This wasn't a luxury country club with pristine lawns, imported clay courts, and waiters serving strawberries and cream to members dressed in all white. No, this was the grinder, the hard courts where the scorching Florida heat radiates off the concrete so intensely that it feels like the air itself is burning. This is where Gauff's journey began, and it's this same place she's now bringing back to life for future generations. These courts were far from glamorous. The paint was faded from years of sun exposure, and the heat was so intense that your shoes might actually melt into the surface. There were no fancy hydration stations, just players bringing their own water bottles. This is where Coco Gauff's journey truly began, with her father, Corey, tossing her balls, drilling her on footwork and mechanics, shaping the foundation for the tennis prodigy she would become. The courts didn't care about her bank account or connections. They only asked one thing: are you willing to work? And Gauff answered that question every day, pushing through brutal conditions that would likely make today's academy kids quit before lunch. She trained in the scorching heat and stifling humidity, with equipment that wasn't the best, and no guarantees that any of it would lead to success. The odds were stacked against her. Tennis is one of the most expensive sports in the world, with the cost of raising a junior player to a professional level ranging from $200,000 to $1 million. That doesn't even cover college, it's just the price of trying to make it on the professional tour. For many families, this is simply out of reach. Every year, the sport loses thousands of talented players because their parents can't afford the entry fees or the cost of training. And that's exactly why Gauff's decision to invest in the facility she grew up on is so powerful. She's opening doors for the next generation, proving that talent and hard work can still shine, no matter where you come from. This isn't about creating another exclusive club, it's why Coco Gauff's purchase of the facility and its transformation into Gauff Futures is so revolutionary. She's making a statement louder than any ace she could blast down the line, any return winner she could rip cross-court, or any trophy she could hoist above her head. Gauff is saying that talent shouldn't be reserved for the wealthy. She's reminding the world that the next Serena Williams or Arthur Ashe could be a kid sitting in a low-income neighborhood right now with no access to the sport. She remembers what it felt like to be that kid, and she hasn't forgotten, even after achieving global success. In today's world, tennis is becoming increasingly expensive, exclusive, and inaccessible to anyone who isn't born into privilege. The costs of court time, coaching, tournament travel, equipment, and everything else price millions of talented kids out before they even pick up a racket. Gauff knows this firsthand, she lived it. And now, with the platform and resources she's earned, she's changing it. But the Gauff Futures project isn't just about tennis. This is where the story becomes even more inspiring. But Gauff Futures isn't just about tennis, it's about education, mentorship, and creating a safe haven where kids can grow not only as athletes but as human beings. Coco Gauff has always been more than a tennis player. Even at 15, when she stunned Venus Williams at Wimbledon in what felt like a scripted Hollywood moment, she carried herself with a maturity and grace far beyond her years. She spoke eloquently about social justice, representation, and using her platform for good, and now she's backing up those words with real action. The Academy will reportedly offer educational programs, college prep assistance, mental health resources, and career development opportunities for kids who might never have access to any of these tools. It's a complete, 360-degree approach to youth development, using tennis as the vehicle. This vision reflects a maturity we've seen in her since she first burst onto the scene, one that continues to evolve and deepen. While other stars her age are buying islands, launching cryptocurrency ventures, or starting makeup lines, Coco is literally building the future in her hometown. She's hiring coaches and teachers, creating jobs, and providing opportunities in a community that supported her when she had nothing. That, truly, is the heart of a champion. That's what separates the good from the great, the stars from the legends. Legends give back. Legends understand that their success was built on a foundation of family, community, and the people who believed in them when nobody else did. Coco Gauff knows that success is built on hard work, support, circumstances, and yes, a little luck, and she honors that by creating opportunities for the next generation. But don't let all this heartwarming philanthropy fool you into thinking she's softened or is shifting her focus from competition. Gauff is hungrier than ever. As the 2026 season kicks off, the 21-year-old superstar has her sights set on one thing: absolute domination. Her 2025 season already silenced every doubter, every critic, and every talking head who questioned her forehand, mental toughness, or ability to win the big matches. She captured 2 Grand Slam titles, conquering clay at Roland Garros with improved movement and mental fortitude, then defending her home turf at the US Open in front of her crowd, showcasing champion-level pressure management. That's the kind of resume most players dream of achieving in an entire career, let alone a single year. Gauff joined elite company, proving she wasn't a one-slam wonder and establishing herself as one of the most dangerous players on tour, regardless of surface. But she isn't satisfied. She won't coast on her accomplishments. At a recent press conference ahead of the United Cup, which kicks off the 2026 season, Gauff laid out her roadmap for the year, a plan that should make anyone named IGA or Arena nervous. Her goal is crystal clear, ambitious, and entirely within reach. She wants the world #1 ranking. Not someday, not eventually this year. She aims to be the indisputable queen of the WTA. Coco Gauff is setting her sights on becoming the player every competitor circles on their calendar with dread. When asked about her primary goal for 2026, she didn't mince words or hide behind false modesty. "I think just consistency," she told reporters, her calm, focused demeanor perfectly intact. "I would like to go deep in all the slams this year. Yeah, obviously I would like to touch the #1 ranking. That would be pretty cool." Classic Coco understatement. Touching the #1 spot wouldn't just be pretty cool. It would be monumental, historic, and the culmination of everything she's built since hitting balls at Pompey Park as a little girl. Achieving it would mean surpassing Aryna Sabalenka, with her powerful baseline game and mental resilience, and Iga Swiatek, who has dominated the rankings for years with her robotic consistency and clay court mastery. These two have fiercely defended their spots at the top, but Coco feels ready. You can see it in her eyes and hear it in her voice. She's no longer just a defensive wall or a speedy counterpuncher. She's evolved into a true power player who can dictate points against the sport's biggest hitters. Her serve has grown in pace and precision, consistently cracking 115 miles per hour. Her movement is smarter, more strategic, choosing when to defend and when to attack. And her forehand, once targeted relentlessly as a weakness, has become a weapon she can unleash confidently in the sport's biggest moments. But to be the best, Coco knows you must study the best. She recently shared insights into her tennis viewing habits, revealing how much of a student of the game she truly is. "I always watch tennis," she admitted. "I love watching tennis. I'm watching it from a fan standpoint, not necessarily always scouting." She's not analyzing every stroke with software open. She watches because she loves the sport, appreciating the artistry, drama, and human element that make tennis so compelling. Her must-watch list includes elite players from the ATP Tour, like Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz, two of the young men battling for supremacy in men's tennis. No surprise there, as she admires both their skill and their competitive fire. Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz have taken the tennis world by storm, splitting Grand Slams between them and pushing the level of play to heights we haven't seen since Djokovic's peak years. Watching Alcaraz is like seeing a video game character come to life, someone who bends the laws of physics with his drop shots, court coverage, and sheer creativity. Sinner's ball striking is so pure and precise that it literally sounds different on contact, like a cannon going off. Jannik and Carlos are pretty fun to watch, Coco said, and that's putting it mildly. They embody the new era of tennis, just like her, with speed, athleticism, and fearlessness that mirrors her own game. But then she revealed a third name, and it had the press room both chuckling and nodding in agreement, showing off Coco's wonderfully chaotic sense of humor. "I like watching Daniil Medvedev," she said, grinning as if recalling some particularly wild moment. And she's absolutely right. Medvedev is the reality TV star of the ATP Tour, the player you watch not just for his game, though his backhand is one of the best in tennis, but for the unpredictable, unfiltered chaos he brings to every match. You never know what he'll do next, and that unpredictability is exactly what makes him so entertaining to watch, even for a pro like Coco. You don't watch Daniil Medvedev just for the points. You watch to see if he's going to argue with the umpire about the lights being slightly wrong, complain that the surface is 2 millimeters too slow, or yell at a bird that dared to fly across the court during his service motion. You tune in to see him rile up the crowd like a professional wrestling villain, encouraging boos just so he can channel the negativity into winning. You watch to see what impossibly awkward press conference answer he'll give, what weird serve motion he'll invent, or what completely unexpected tactical decision he'll make. He once lay down on the court during a changeover just to make a point about being tired, and he's confronted umpires so often they could give him a season pass to climb the chair. Medvedev is a beautiful disaster, a genius wrapped in chaos, and he's absolutely must-watch television. Coco's observation that you never know what he'll do might be the truest statement in tennis this year. Remember the time he stopped play for 6 full minutes at the US Open just to deliver a passionate rant nobody else understood? Or when he feuded with clay courts themselves, literally kicking the dirt as if the surface had personally insulted his family? Or his infamous small cat comment? Coco clearly loves that unpredictability and refusal to be boring. It makes perfect sense. She is composed, media-trained, and consistently professional in her behavior and responses. Watching Medvedev completely lose the plot while still dominating the game probably gives her a vicarious thrill, a reminder that tennis can be chaotic, exciting, and utterly human, even at the very top, somehow win the match. It's a hilarious and humanizing glimpse into what truly entertains a top athlete. They admire technical genius and strategic brilliance, but they also love the chaos, the personality, and the pure entertainment value. Tennis needs characters, and Daniil Medvedev is undoubtedly the biggest character in the sport right now. Speaking of characters and chaos, the 2026 season isn't easing in with low-key warm-up events, it's hitting the gas pedal immediately, asking everyone to hang on for dear life. Coco Gauff is currently in Perth for the United Cup, where Team USA is aiming to defend their title and prove that last year's championship wasn't a fluke. Last year, Team USA's dominant trophy win was a moment of pure pride, and Coco played a pivotal role, winning crucial matches and showing that she elevates her game in team competitions. There's something about representing her country that brings out another level in her. Now, as champions, the target is firmly on their backs. Everyone wants to beat them, and Team USA has been drawn into a tough group with Argentina and Spain, making this early season challenge as intense as it gets. This first match of the year is anything but a guaranteed win, despite what the rankings suggest. Coco Gauff is set to face Salana Sierra of Argentina, a player who may not yet be a household name but has been steadily improving. On paper, Coco is the overwhelming favorite. World number 3, multi-Grand Slam champion, global icon with millions of followers, and carrying more pressure than most people experience in a lifetime. Sierra, ranked outside the top 60, lacks Coco's experience on the big stages. Yet Coco, ever the consummate professional, refuses to take anyone lightly. "I think it's always tricky playing someone you've never played before," Gauff said, showing the respect and tactical awareness that have propelled her to the top. "I haven't really looked forward to the next match because it's next. But for Salana, I know she can serve well. I haven't played her feisty style, so I know I have to compete for each point." That word feisty is key. South American players often bring a different energy to team competitions. They play with their hearts on their sleeves, feed off the crowd, and fight for every ball as if their lives depend on it. The crowds are passionate, loud, and sometimes even hostile, meaning Coco will need to be sharp from the very first point. She cannot afford a slow start or a rust match just trying to find her rhythm. Every point will demand focus, precision, and intensity. Timing. In the United Cup, every set counts toward the team standings, and one bad day can cost your team the entire tournament. After her match with Sierra, Coco is set to face Jessica Buzas Monero of Spain in what will be another tough challenge. Spanish players, especially those raised on clay, are known for their grinding, relentless style. They don't give away free points, they make you work for every inch of the court, and they extend rallies until your patience and legs are tested. Coco will have to be mentally prepared for long, exhausting matches, constructing her points carefully, using her athleticism and power to break through their defense, and staying composed when things get tight. Early season team events can be tricky. You're still finding your rhythm. Your timing might be a little off, but the matches count right away. There's no time to ease into the season. But while Coco is focused on the challenges ahead in the United Cup, and dealing with the hungry competitors from Argentina and Spain, there's a ghost from the past looming over the Australian Open. A legendary figure is making a return, and it feels like the kind of narrative arc you'd expect from a Hollywood script too perfect to be real. Venus Williams is coming back. At 45 years old, an age when most athletes are thinking about retirement plans and glasses, Venus, the Queen V, has accepted a wild card into the 2026 Australian Open. This will be her first appearance in Melbourne in 5 years, a half-decade away from a tournament she's graced since before some of today's players were even born. Let that sink in for a moment. Venus made her Australian Open debut in 1998, wearing beads in her hair and announcing the arrival of a new era of power tennis. That was 28 years ago, before Coco Gauff was even born, and long before many players in the current top 100. It was a time before social media, before smartphones, before tennis looked anything like it does today. Venus has played through multiple generations of tennis, faced hundreds of opponents, and adapted to changes in the game, making her return to Melbourne all the more remarkable. Have the legendary Venus Williams, at 45 years old, strapping on her visor and lacing up her shoes for one more run at the Australian Open. It's not just a farewell tour for Venus. She's here to compete. The news of her return has sent shockwaves through the locker room and the tennis community at large. Most players retire by 30, their bodies worn down by years of grueling competition, but Venus isn't showing up to wave goodbye. She hasn't accepted this wild card to just smile for the cameras and lose in the first round. No, she's still capable of playing at a high level. Look at her recent performances: a win over Peyton Stearns in Washington, a 3-set battle against Karolina Muchova at the US Open that was far more competitive than expected. Venus is not here to just show up. She's here to prove she can still beat top-tier players. The Australian Open is especially meaningful to her, having reached the final twice in 2003 and 2017. The 2003 final, where she faced her sister Serena in an all-Williams clash, captivated the world. The 2017 final was equally emotional and historic. Venus, 36 and seemingly past her prime, facing off with Serena, who was pregnant at the time, in what turned out to be their last Grand Slam final against each other. Serena won, but the match itself transcended the result, a beautiful and nostalgic moment in tennis history. Now, with Serena retired and thriving in her business ventures and motherhood, Venus is the last woman standing from that golden era. She's carrying the torch alone, not just representing herself, but an entire generation of champions. As we enter January 2026, the landscape of tennis is filled with incredible storylines, all intertwining in ways that feel almost too perfect. There's the benevolent Coco Gauff, using her platform and resources to build schools and save public courts, pouring millions into the community that raised her when she had nothing. She's showing us that it's possible to be a ruthless competitor on the court while also being a kind, generous person who genuinely cares about making the world better. She's challenging the outdated idea that athletes should just shut up and play, that they should be grateful and stay silent. Instead, she's putting her money where her heart is, and the impact will be measured in lives changed, not trophies won. And then there's the ambitious Coco Gauff, ready to face the 2026 season with one clear goal in mind: the world #1 ranking. She knows the challenges ahead, Sabalenka's power and IGA's consistency, but she believes in her own evolution. She believes in the work she's put in and the strategy of her team. She's convinced that this is her year to claim the throne. And when Coco Gauff sets her mind to something, betting against her is usually a mistake. We have the fan Coco Gauff, the young woman who still watches tennis for fun, who laughs at Daniil Medvedev's meltdowns and marvels at Carlos Alcaraz's impossible shot-making, reminding us that even the best players in the world are, at their core, just fans of the sport like you and me. They appreciate the beauty, the drama, the characters of tennis. They're not robots programmed only to compete. They're human beings who love the game. And then we have the timeless legend Venus Williams, refusing to go gently into that good night, raging against the dying of the light in the most beautiful way possible. She proves once again that age is just a number, and that if you truly love something, you never have to stop doing it just because society says you're too old. Venus is an inspiration not just to tennis players, but to anyone who's ever been told they're past their prime, too old, or finished. The United Cup is underway right now, with matches happening in Perth, and the Australian Open is just around the corner. The courts at Pompey Park are being prepped, renovated, and reimagined for the next generation of dreamers who will learn their craft there. Tennis is alive, thriving, and more exciting than ever in the history of the sport. What do you think about Coco's purchase of her childhood facility? Is this the best, most meaningful use of athlete money you've ever seen? And let's get real in the comments. What are your predictions for Venus Williams at the Australian Open? Can she realistically win a round against today's competition? Could she make a deep run? Lastly, do you agree with Coco's assessment? Is Daniil Medvedev the most entertaining player in tennis right now, or do you have someone else in mind who brings even more drama and chaos? Drop your thoughts, your predictions, and your hot takes in the comments below. I read every single one of them and love debating tennis with this community. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of tennis and you're as excited as I am about the 2026 season, please destroy that like button, share this with your tennis group chat, or with that one friend who never stops talking about the sport. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on, because you absolutely do not want to miss what's coming next. This is Champions Tennis, and we don't just report the news, we live it, breathe it, and obsess over it. See you in the next one.